vanim ligvulam. Hey v'shavu vanim shavu vanim ligvulam. Hey v'shavu vanim ligvulam. Hey v'shavu vanim ligvulam. Bezrat Hashem, the limud this week should be l'refuat Moreinu v'Rabbeinu Harav Menachem Yoshua ben Leah Rezo v'achole Harav Sivan ben Sima v'achola Shlomit bat Chaya b'toch kol shar cholei Yisrael. Being in this time of year in Eretz Yisrael is a very different and very unique time of year. We started on Kav Zayin Nisan, Yom HaShoah, one of the darkest times of our history. And mamash a week later, we go straight into Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. And when we go into Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, that one moment of changing from Yom HaZikaron, of remembering all of the soldiers, all of my friends and everyone who has all of those friends who gave their lives for our land, that 1 second where we switch from Yom HaZikaron to Yom HaAtzmaut is one of the most difficult moments for everyone in Eretz Yisrael. How can we be remembering in one day all the tears, and the next day we were so happy about Eretz Yisrael. We thank and praise Hashem for having our land back. And so the real question we ask ourselves is, what is Eretz Yisrael about that can make us so happy that even though in a certain moment we see the tears, a moment later we could see the joy? And there might not be a better parasha to understand the depth of Eretz Yisrael than Parashat Behar. The parasha starts, Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe behar Sinai le'emor. And so we have a pasuk that brings us back to Har Sinai. And we start talking about Shemitah. And so the famous Rashi that many of us learned says, Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe behar Sinai le'emor, ma inyan Shemitah etzel Har Sinai. Why is Shemitah so important to teach us that Shemitah was given in Har Sinai? So Rashi's answer, Ma Shemitah ne'emru klalotea v'dikdukea mesinai, av kulam ne'emru klalotehem v'dikdukehem besinai. Says Rashi, same way Shemitah was given with all of its details on Har Sinai, so too all the mitzvot, all of the details were given on Har Sinai. So the Sefat Emet, when he hears this answer of Rashi, he emphasizes one point within Rashi. And says the Sefat Emet, Umidetalinhu b'shmitah mashma shehi mitzvah shekol ha-mitzvot tluyin ba. Says the Sefat Emet, Rashi is saying that from the mitzvah of Shemitah we could learn all the mitzvot. But also there are other mitzvot that we could have said that the same way on Har Sinai we learned the details, all of the mitzvot, we have to know that the details were given in Har Sinai. But emphasizes the Sefat Emet that Davka it's Shemitah. Davka Shemitah is the mitzvah that's going to teach us the essence of all the mitzvot. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, what is Shemitah about? What is this specific mitzvah that's done in the land of Eretz Yisrael? What's so significant about Shemitah that from Shemitah we can learn all the mitzvot? So says the Sefat Emet something miraculous. Says the Sefat Emet, Kmo haaretz hayta mikodem tachat yad Knaan, achar kach nifdet v'nichneset ברשות ישראל, ואחרי זה צריך לצאת גם משעבוד בני ישראל להיות רק תחת רשות הקדוש ברוך הוא. Let's try to explain what the Sefat Emet says here. He says at the beginning, when Am Yisrael are in Mitzrayim, the land of Eretz Yisrael is under the ownership of Canaan. And after Am Yisrael take the land back from Canaan, we would think that's enough. The land has been released from the enemy, from Canaan, and it should end there. Shemitah says it does not end with Am Yisrael releasing the land from the enemy. Shemitah says also Am Yisrael need to let go of their ownership of the land. And so Eretz Yisrael itself is released twice. First from the Knaanim, and then through Mitzvat Shemitah, Eretz Yisrael is released from Am Yisrael controlling, or we could say think they control, the land. And so what the Sefat Emet says is, what's so unique about the mitzvah of Shemitah is that it needs to be released continually again and again. What does it mean that a land needs to be released not once and not twice, but every 7 years needs to be released again and again? And so says the Sefat Emet, Ve'ikar mitzvat Shemitah hi leha'id she'akadosh baruch hu mekayem hanivra'im bekol et mechadash. Says the Sefat Emet, what is Shemitah about? It's coming to say that not does only Hashem create the world, but He creates the ability for everything to renew itself. Eretz Yisrael needs to be released first from Canaan, and then from Eretz Yisrael, and then from Am Yisrael, and then once it's released from Am Yisrael, every 7 years again and again, the land needs to continuously be renewed. And so the idea of Shemitah is saying that not only do we have a time that we don't work the land, but it's the time where we stop so the land could renew itself without me, and so that I could renew myself without the land. Because when the land is connected to the people, or the people is connected to the land, you would think that that's enough, but it's not enough. Eretz Yisrael is symbolized by Shemitah, because Eretz Yisrael says it's not enough just to be here. Reb Shlomo says that many people think that we come to Eretz Yisrael, we put a check, we did our job, and we're in the land. Says Reb Shlomo, there are some people that are living in Eretz Yisrael and they're in the Galut. Because Galut is a feeling that there's no ability to renew. If we think about the difference between Golah and Geulah, They're the same letters. But Geulah adds the letter Aleph to the word Golah. And it's saying that Golah is set, it's steady, there's no place to renew yourself. And if we think about the history of Am Yisrael, so the lacking that we had when we were away from our land is that people decided for us how to live. We couldn't decide for ourselves how to create a new land, a new army, a new prime minister, a new Knesset, a new Beit Mishpat. There was no place to renew yourself, so we shut ourselves. The Geulah is saying, I'm adding an Aleph. I could renew everything and anything if I want to. And so says the Sefat Emet, why does Rashi come to say, Ma shmita nitna behar Sinai, av kol mitzvot? Because every one of the mitzvot is the ability for us to renew something in our lives. And in the words of the Sefat Emet, ukmo chen bevchinat mitzvot shenatan lebnei Yisrael gam ken noheg davar zeh shenoten tamid koach vehe'ara belev ish Yisrael lekabel Torah. The mitzvah is the ability that when I give tzedakah, or when I shake a lulav, or when I make a bracha on tzitzit, or kiss the mezuzah, every one of those mitzvot is saying that continuously in the day, you could keep renewing Matan Torah. Matan Torah was Hashem gave us the Torah, and then He gave us the mitzvot to keep renewing that ability. What does this really mean? I learned 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I had the zchut to daven on Yom HaAtzmaut with Yeshivat Otniel on the Tayelet in Yerushalayim. And we had the tefillah there, and it was one of the most amazing tefillot, and we were really, really inspired by standing there and looking at Yerushalayim, looking around with the hundreds of people that we're dancing with. But suddenly in the corner of my eye, I see a group of elderly people in the age of 60, 70, who are standing and watching us dance. And what I learned from Mori Rabbi Reb Shlomo is that if they're standing there, they probably want to be a part of the dancing. So I run over to the elderly people and I say to them, why are you watching? Just join us. And so the 30, 40 people in that group come and they start dancing with us. And the dancing that was so incredible becomes even more incredible. So the tefillah is over and everyone starts going. And again, I see out of this entire group of the elderly people, one man standing on the side. So I walk over to him and I say, Chag Sameach, thank you so much for dancing with us. It was such a zchut. And suddenly from nowhere he starts crying. And I was thinking, you know, maybe I should just step away. But when tears open up, that means the lev is open, the heart is open, and it's an opportunity. So I said to him, sir, what's your name? Why are you crying? He says, Yair, my name is Joe. And I've been living in San Francisco for my entire life. And you're the first person I want to tell you that since the age of 6, I never said to a person that I'm a Jew. I was born Jewish. And the first time I met anti-Semitism, I said, from today, I never want to tell anyone that I'm a Jew. And he says, watching all your friends dance was the first time I saw people not only wearing a kippah or tzitzit, but proud. Not afraid. Proud to say, this is my land. And I love where I am and I love what I do. And I'll dance like crazy because I want to show that I am proud of who I am. And when you showed me how proud you were, that enabled me for the first time to say I'm proud to be a Jew. And I think a lot about what Joe taught me. And he saw for the first time, not people that do what you have to do, but that with what actions they do, they feel and realize the ability of people to renew the land of Eretz Yisrael through their actions. When you drive through the streets of the land, you know that in every rock and in every corner, there's someone who you'll never know his name, who fought for this area, who gave his life for this land, or for this part of the land. And he was mechadesh the land. And if we go back and we ask ourselves sometimes that changing point from Yom HaZikaron to Yom HaAtzmaut, where can we bring out that joy? It's when we open our eyes and see the land that forces itself to have Shemitah, to renew itself and say, I want to separate from someone controlling me and telling me who I am. We could learn from the land the ability to ask ourselves, are we renewing ourselves every single day? And so when we walk into Parashat Behar, right after Yom HaAtzmaut, we can see the amazing connection between the parasha and the time that we're in. The parasha saying that Har Sinai was unique because of Shemitah. Shemitah teaching us this need to keep releasing yourself from people that hold you, first from Canaan and then from Am Yisrael. We should be zocheh that the land that we have today, not to feel like we have reached the end. We only started touching Atchalta de Geula, which means that there's so much to renew. And there's so much ability for us, wherever we are in the world, to daven every day for Eretz Yisrael and for the people in Am Yisrael. To never think that someone could stop this ability of renewing ourselves continuously. Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom.